Rob Williams joins us, the national sports editor of the Daily Hive and its Offside Sports Vertical. Rob, the hockey guy on Twitter. So what do you think? They wrap it up tonight?
I think it would be definitely in their best interest to wrap it up tonight. I think this is a really, really important game. To not have to fly back to Nashville, not extend the series, multiple days. Quinn Hughes is banged up. Other players have got bumps and bruises. I think you need your team to be as healthy as possible into the next round, if possible, if you make it that far. And so I think it's a massive, massive game. Do they do it? I don't know. My confidence is waning in this team, given what we've seen so far. We haven't seen their best yet. That kind of makes me think that we're overdue from seeing them break out here a little bit more. So I do think they'll wrap it up tonight, but it's been a very close series, and they're lucky to be up 3-1.
Yeah, they haven't been the better team for 2 straight games. So,
those are the road games, though. That's
right. And Rob's also right that probably brings them closer to being the better team. It's not like this is a spectacular Nashville club that they can't keep up with. Where's your concern level with Hughes, watching him play and noticing not just the low minutes, comparatively speaking, but the way he is playing those minutes?
Yeah, I mean, still was able to pull off the absolutely spectacular play at the blue line for the tying goal. So he does appear to be able to gut through it to some degree. But yeah, like he's not. If you're not 100%, like you're not going to get 100% output, right? Like it's very, very difficult. Yeah, pretty high concern level of what the rumor, I guess, is it's a shoulder. I mean, a shoulder is a tough injury to play through. That affects your shot. That affects, going into a corner and being, afraid of somebody hammering you because you got a bum shoulder or something like. So if it is indeed that, like that's a tough injury to play through. At least it doesn't affect his legs, right? Like he can still skate like the wind. So that's a plus. But yeah, no, I think like going into this series, like if you were to say like, geez, who are the 2 players you absolutely need healthy? You'd say Thatcher Demko and Quinn Hughes, and look where we're at. So yeah, I think it's very, very important to get Hughes as healthy as possible. I know a lot of players are playing through things at this time of year, but boy, they need him as healthy as possible.
You can't acquire new players, and maybe this goes into the injury column as well, but dropping Elias Pettersson into this lineup would be nice. And in a lot of ways, if he has a good game, it's like you're getting a new player back. He's treaded water. He at times he's been more costly than he's been helpful. That's for sure. So if Elias Pettersson can just be Elias Pettersson, my goodness, I think the Canucks look like they're probably 25% better immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and speaking of players that people wonder if he's injured, I mean, I think people are wondering if Pettersson's injured just because he's playing so poorly. I was in the media scrum yesterday with Rick Tocchet, and I mean, if he's playing through a serious injury, then he's hiding it. Then the coach is not really tipping his hand, I don't think, right now, because Tocchet was talking about Pettersson needs to stop thinking so much. Clearly frame this as a mental issue. He said that Pettersson needs to just move his feet. It was one of the things he said. And compared him to, or not compared him, but pointed to guys like McDavid and McKinnon, just like get your feet moving, like watch what will open up if you just get your feet moving and just go. And I think that's quite clear. Like when I think we've seen like not just Pettersson, but as a team, as the team as a whole, I think have been a bit rattled by how good Nashville was at blocking shots and affecting their shot in game 2. That since then they're really trying to overthink things now. They're really trying to they're going, oh Jesus, it's going to get blocked. I don't want to shoot it. And I think that's affecting them. And Pettersson's the probably the best example of like getting opportunities to shoot on the power play from his spot, and looks like he wants to do anything but shoot.
Rob, moving along to the fun and games around the hockey in this playoff series, because there are fun and games.
We hope.
Just responsible safety. Drove by Rogers Arena Sunday. Roger and his stick and towel are behind a fence.
We saw this coming in a zillion miles away.
Mm-hmm. No more climbing Roger, which begs the question: are they going to climb Pat now? So give me somebody on top of the big Irishman's shoulders at the plaza tonight or after the game.
Not as big a drop if you fall from that one though. I think, which is not as big a concern. I don't know how sturdy the Rogers hockey stick is up in the air though there too. So that was you don't want to break the statue. That's another concern.
That'd be bad.
Right? Yeah. No fireman climbing Rogers' stick.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was surprised that wasn't behind a fence like the day after game one. As soon as he saw that video go viral, I thought, oh no, like that's going to be behind a fence. I saw a lot of people go, oh my God, Canucks fans, like this is why we can't have nice things and whatnot. It should be said this exact same thing happened in Edmonton. There were people straddling the Wayne Gretzky statue 2 years ago. I wrote about it myself, and it was behind a fence for the rest of the playoff run. So this is what passionate hockey markets do. We climb our beloved statues after big wins. It's I do get a kick out of some of the discourse now. Like, of course, now that the TV news media are into this, like it's not just the sports news media. The more newsy people are starting to cover the Canucks. They're maybe not as and it's fair. They're not as familiar with the team and with hockey and with the Canucks, perhaps. But like the talk about and it's coming from the mayor as well. The talk about like, oh my God, we've had a riot. Like it's the first round, guys. Like I sure as hell hope to God there's no riots in the first round. Be prepared, have the police on standby, but you don't need the riot police at the doors just yet. Like we've not reached a fever pitch like we saw in 2011. If there is going to be trouble, this is not emulating 2011 in the finals at all. Like we had
no.
I think people that are not as familiar with the team or think, oh my God, this is the same thing, and it's like no, like this was 2011 was 2 months of build up, and it was
3 years of build up though too. Like this feels like gravy still for everybody. I would be surprised if we ever get to that point. Like we did.
Like that team was expected to win. This was still joyous. Rob, when I heard the mayor speaking on this last week, he sounds scared to death.
He does, yeah.
Like I know he's not a traditional politician, and there's a lot of things that are new for him. But he sounds absolutely petrified of sanctioning one of these. And look, I understand the budget rationale, right? And fair enough. You can put it in those terms. A lot of slick politicians will go that route and make the case on pure finances alone. As a matter of fact, I was speaking with a VPD officer Friday at our event at Greta, who was right there in 2011, assigned to downtown, and was one of the officers doing his best at the riot. And he said, I agree with the mayor that we could have had twice as many police officers, and there still would have been problems in 2011. Do you think that he is going to get public pressure on this if they continue marching forward in the Stanley Cup playoffs, or do you think this is a closed file at this stage based on his comments last week?
I mean, I think there's already some public pressure. Rob the hockey guy was writing on this, for crying out loud.
Oh my goodness.
I think there's some public pressure. Is it enough that like he's going to have to do something? I don't know about that. And then the ironic part about this is if you just start having like if you start the viewing parties in the first round where there's much less risk of trouble, you can start it slow and then build it up towards the finals and learn lessons and then have everything in order. If they just start parachuting this in for the finals, and then that's going to be, I mean, to me, that's even riskier, right? So I don't know that the city, like, here's the thing is I think that a lot of people are viewing this in a binary state here, where it's either we do the same parties as we did in 2011, Georgia Street, have thousands of people, almost no control on who's coming in and what they're bringing in, or we have nothing. And it's like either riot, like huge risk of a riot, or nothing. And that's just not the case. Like, look at every other big city. Look at the Leafs, look at Maple Leaf Square. Like, the Raptors won an NBA championship. It was under control. Like, that wasn't a trouble spot.
And idiots live in every city. You are always going to have to deal with idiots.
Exactly. So, like, so in one sense, I don't know who to blame here. I think that's my problem, is that in one sense, I thought what the mayor said was ridiculous, but at the same time, like, should the city be in business of, running parties? Like, never mind allowing parties, but like running them? Because what I think they need to do is have fencing. They need to have a reserved space. I think they need to charge money to get in. I think they need to have security. Like, I don't know if the city,
it's not the city's business. No, the Canucks need to do it, but in concert with the city.
No, I disagree. I think the city has to take the lead hand. It is more likely to be on city property than Canucks property. The city has to deal with the security cost and deployment, so that makes more sense to me. I disagree with Rob that it has to be ticketed, or at least that it has to cost money. You want to do tickets and, set a max capacity. But, I think the spirit of these things is that it should be free. People getting together to watch the game, which they can watch it for free at home in most cases.
But no other teams are no other cities are doing this. It's the teams that are doing this. All Jurassic Park and all that sort of stuff, that's put on by the teams,
because those teams have the land that are inviting people to their property to do it.
Scotia, but no, Toronto, that's the street.
What's going on in Winnipeg?
Maple Leaf Square is on. I'm less familiar with Winnipeg because
that's in the street too. That's just in the street.
So you're telling me the Jets are organizing that?
Yes. Yeah, that's just in the street outside the arena.
Okay, but surely the city of Winnipeg is involved from a security point of view,
and from
a fencing and all that.
Of course they're involved, but they're not paying for the fencing. No, the team pays for that. The team pays for all of that stuff.
Is the team paying for the security?
I mean, I don't have
Rob. What do you know? What do you know?
Yeah.
I think you need further investigation on this.
I don't know who's paying for what exactly, but it's quite clear from what the Leafs are doing. Like, they send out a press release every day with all the activations that they have going on there. I've been to that space. It's on the street outside of Scotiabank Arena. I mean, just theoretically for myself, like the Canucks are going to benefit greatly from an event like this. They should be putting it on. And, you can have, and you can really, you can make a lot of the money back, right? Sell merchandise, sell food and drinks, like, do all these different things at your viewing party. Because, like, these parties aren't just a screen and a parking lot, right? Like, there's other things around it. In Toronto, they got a DJ, they got prizes, they got, like, there's a whole production to it. It's a whole other, like, they have the game production inside the arena. There's a whole other production outside. And to me, if the big worry is, safety and everything around the city, which it seems to be with the mayor, like, they've already held a viewing party with 11,000 people downtown, and nobody was worried because it was indoors, ticketed, they had security, it was in Rogers Arena. So just have fewer than 11,000 people, have some security, have crowd control, do the same, apply all the same principles, and have it outdoors, and you should be fine.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure I have the most faith in the Vancouver Canucks' ability to organize. I still don't think it's a particularly well-run organization on the business side, and so plus the Canucks Sports Entertainment doesn't do a lot of goodwill. Like, that's not something that's their brand. So
they want to make a buck on everything.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So if we're waiting for Canucks Sports Entertainment to take the lead, I think we're waiting on the wrong agent, the wrong actor here.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think if the mayor can get over his trembles about this, that there is something to be gained by rejuvenating these things. Hey, until then, we have Scott Road, right?
The people have taken it into their own hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love the scenes at Scott Road. They're incredible. It's the most ridiculous of all the party. I mean, of a celebration spot. Like it's not a great like spot to celebrate, right? Like it's not like a square. It's not like an area where everyone just waits at the street corner. They wait for the traffic to go by, and then they cross the street.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something simple and wholesome about it, I think.
Yeah.
It is kind of cool seeing, the cars drive by, and I'm sure people make a special trip to the area to just drive by and honk their horns. You got people with like pretend Stanley Cups, people hanging out of sunroofs. A lot of police presence on the corner there just to ensure safety. I think it looks like they're blocking a lane of traffic in each direction because of this. But it's incredible, like first round, and there's these celebrations just out in the street like that. It's a cool sight to see, and I think it's especially cool to see. I think also just the demographics. I don't think these are mostly Indo-Canadians celebrating in the street. I think there's a cool like immigrants to Canada feel to this that I don't know that you see that in anywhere else in North America, probably, right? Like, so I think that's also a very cool element, for the celebration.
Got to hand it to everybody out there. The spirit is incredible. You're right. Like, it's not perfect. In fact, it's completely suboptimal. It's people crossing it's an intersection parade, basically, and yet it works, and the visuals are compelling.
And for a city that gets a bad rap on crime and all that sort of stuff, we're not hearing a lot of bad stories about what's happening either. So
it is festive. It is joyous. It is exactly the sort of spirit that the Stanley Cup playoffs and the local team doing well encourage. And so I'm pleased to see that. And I sure hope, especially if they advance, that we're taking another look at viewing parties.
Yeah, we've done them successfully before. We do the fireworks successfully. We can congregate in large groups and not have riots. We have proven that.
And the other part is, like, other cities are doing this successfully. So why not us? Like, surely we can make it to that bar.
Yeah.
So I do think this is a funny part of the story now too. We're seeing all the other municipalities now like keeping up with the Joneses. Like City of Delta is doing one outside. I saw Port Coquitlam had one. It looks like it's in a community center. So I'm like, I don't know if that looks all that cool, but like they're selling beer and hot dogs and stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's all right. I see City of Burnaby now is opening up a community center. So like, I feel like every city is, each city is introducing a version of the party.
There's some sense into this too, guys, from a safety standpoint. If they are scared, is that if everybody stays in their own hometowns to do this, and home neighborhoods, I mean, the ne'er-do-wells have no problem screwing everybody else's shit up. But are they likely to shit in their own backyard? Maybe not. So I think there's an element where that works better too, where if there's a bunch of satellite events, maybe there's less likely for their things to go pear-shaped, maybe in their own minds.
I agree with Rob. Other politicians are looking around and going, there's territory to be gained here. Well, we can do this. I've got confidence and faith in our team to be able to pull this off, and people want to congregate, right? Like they want to be with their neighbors, with their fellow citizen watching this, because at the end of the day, it is, a banner of civic pride. Canucks. All right, Rob, marvelous stuff. Thank you for this. We'll catch up next week. Hey, everybody, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, then follow along with Sekeres and Price on YouTube. I promise more content coming.
The kids call it subscribe on YouTube.
Well, how about liking it?
Do that as well. Smash it right now.